Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Sons of Liberty. It's your boy, Sunny Hawkeye. I'm here with my two co-hosts.
I'm Kaika. I play Destiny 2 for a living.
And I'm kicking Echo. Season 2 is never coming.
Season 2.
Oh, season 2?
Never,
Alright.
never, ever.
We have a bunch of good topics, for this week. We took a little week break, which is fine. We had to take that break from, the old YouTube scummy corporations. Anyways, back with much good topics like COVID-19, the Olympics, which is going on right now. Woo! Sports. And we, of course, have our favorite guest on, Joe Biden.
Joe
Biden.
Is he a guest now?
Joe Biden lives in my head rent free.
I mean, you're not wrong.
He's living in the Sons of Liberty podcast rent free right now.
Oh, no.
Yeah. We might need to start charging him soon after Trump wins.
Yeah, it's like a CNN. Wait, after Trump. Wait, hold up.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, because we don't need him anymore.
Exactly.
Oh yeah, true. But yeah, so it's kind of like how CNN used to be like religiously anti-Trump, and they would never shut up about him. It's like that, but no, it's the other side. So let's start things off with a little bit of clowning on old Biden. Oh, Joe Dementia Biden.
Well, not exactly, but
it's like indirectly clowning Biden. Yeah.
Right, if you could take it away, Kaika, like always.
Yes, of course. So recently.
Can you send it away?
Excuse me. What did you say? Your mic muffled. Mic muffled. I'm sorry.
He's bullying me. He's bullying my ears because I have an ear infection. He's bullying me.
Wait, what?
He's bullying me. He's bullying me, chat. Put in the comments, Kaika's bullying me. What? Why? Not everything has to be around you. Be about you, Chow.
Damn, throwing shots at him.
The world doesn't revolve around you.
I've said like 5 words in the last full minute.
No, you said King Chow season 2 is not coming back. That's more than 5 words.
Oh my. Okay, yeah.
Was that in the last minute though?
Kaika, take it away.
All right. Okay. So Ron DeSantis, the best governor in America. He's from Florida.
Oh, it's a he.
Yeah. What? His name's Ron.
Are
what
you
else
okay?
you think
You assuming his gender or its
yes,
gender?
I'm assuming his gender.
I can't believe you'd be so.
How could you?
I can't believe you'd be so aggressive.
Why don't we just like kick you out of the podcast?
Yeah, might as well. The progressive police will be knocking.
Yeah, you're getting canceled. Thought police are already your door.
Whoa! You DDoSing yourself, mate?
What, dude? There's 55 million people in California.
So
come fight me.
Bet. I know where you live.
I'm not saying come fight me to you. I'm saying come
fight
me to the viewers.
You know what? Let's just go.
Let's just start off. All right. Goddamn.
Whoa! Why you banging your desk? That's pretty violent. You're so violent, bro.
Yeah.
Our viewers are scared now. I'm sorry, viewers.
All right. So Ron DeSantis had a press release. Am I not talking? Hello.
Why don't just do the thing?
Start.
Holy
oh my
shit.
goodness.
You said why are we not starting? What the hell?
Yeah. Okay. You're getting server muted. Come on. give your very insightful commentary. You're the main focus now. You're the main focus of the podcast. Go ahead.
Let's go.
So today, Ron DeSantis hosted a press release, and in this press release, he said the following: "Quote: Joe Biden has taken to himself to try to single out Florida over COVID. This is a guy who ran for president saying he was going to shut down the virus, and what he has done." He has imported more virus from around the world by having a wide open southern border. Honestly, that is correct. Joe Biden has had a really open southern border. He's packed migrants into these small locations where they're all breathing on each other. So in that statement, there's nothing necessarily wrong. Now to further his point, this is coming from a Fox News report. The city of McAllen, Texas, says the federal government has released over 7,000 COVID-positive migrants into their city since February, and that includes over 1,500 new infected migrants in just the last week alone. The local state of disaster has been ordered in McAllen. That's just to further back Ron DeSantis' claim. Ron DeSantis also said to Joe Biden, "Why don't you do your job? Why don't you just secure this border? And until you do that, I don't want to hear a blip about COVID from you. Thank you." Also very true. I feel like Ron DeSantis has every right on this ground,
Very based.
and yeah, I think we all agree on that. But it gets worse for Joe Biden. All right,
Oh, let's go.
Let's
Joe Biden
go.
dug himself deeper into a hole. He
What's
said
new?
this. He said, if governors are not willing to do the right thing to beat this pandemic, then they shouldn't be allowed, or they shouldn't allow businesses and universities who want to do the right thing to be able to do it. If you aren't going to help, at least get out of the way. Now, let's talk about the death rates in fucking Florida, alright? So today's August 4th, and I'm going to go to this Statistica site.
Oh my god, it's August.
Yeah, it's August.
You
I
just
know.
noticed it's
No,
August?
I mean, I consciously know it's August, but
Conscious.
there's like a part of me that's like, hold on, we're in August of 2021. It still feels like 2019. I'm gonna be completely honest. I feel like
because
we've all
2020
just,
didn't happen.
yeah, honestly, I feel like we've just been in a time capsule ever since COVID happened, and like reality has just been put on pause.
You're not
That's
wrong, but
true.
you're not right at the same time.
Just can't
So-
accept that I'm right.
Death rates, right? Yeah.
I
We're talking
love
about the death
those.
rates. So let's talk about these fucking death rates, alright?
Yo, oh my goodness,
These
just
death
talk about
rates
the
are
death
per
rates.
100,000 people, state by state. And I will read you out the states by the time we get to Florida. So once we get to Florida, I will stop. First is New Jersey, second is New York, third is Massachusetts, fourth is Rhode Island, fifth is Mississippi, sixth is Arizona, seventh is Louisiana, eighth is Alabama, ninth is Connecticut, South Dakota is 10th, Pennsylvania is 11th, Michigan is 12th, New Mexico is 13th, and we go all the way down to this fucking list, and we get to Florida. I don't even know what place it is, all right? But it's lower than Texas and Tennessee and Delaware, which has one of the smallest populations in the
Populations?
U.S.
Populations?
Yeah, populations.
Populations.
Anyways, that is a pretty, like, fucked stat.
Yeah, and people are saying, oh yeah, Florida contributes COVID-19 to the most extent. Yeah, fuck you guys, all right?
Oh, and actually,
Your own
I
shit.
did kind of want to bring something in from a previous episode. Do you remember about like the drama that's been going on with the influx of Cuban migrants
Yes.
Yeah.
on not just the southern border, but specifically the southern eastern border and Florida,
Mhm.
right? See, the thing is, right? We've already established in a previous episode. Go watch it up in the cards. Hopefully the editor will put it in the cards. The episode where we talked about basically a new age of basically a Cuban migrant crisis that America has been experiencing because of Cubans finally being able to escape their communist hellhole country. And they're coming to America with very anti-communist, anti-socialist sentiments because socialism and communism were what drove them away from their homes and made a lot of them either starve or get killed or whatever. You know the deal about socialism and communism by now. But I think the important part to remember was American leftists who, yes, are either partially or fully supportive of socialist and communist ideals, absolutely hated the influx of Cuban immigrants. Now, here's the thing. Yes, some of them, and I would argue most of them, were probably illegal immigrants. And to say that they are... that's a little bit of a vapid stance. Some of them are most likely illegal immigrants. I'm sure that plenty of them have gone through the immigrant process and have successfully become U.S. citizens. But some of them just floated onto the Floridan shore and just tried to blend in. But the thing is, right, leftists often argue for a very open borders policy. This has been one of their, one of the leftist stances for basically the longest time now. Some extreme leftists don't even really believe in things like borders and nations, right? They just believe in this idea that, if all of the borders were open, that everyone would just be better and happier and whatever. Point is, ever since the situation going on in Cuba has happened, and ever since a lot of Cuban migrants have started coming over to America through Florida, right? And they all have this anti-communist sentiment. Leftists have started really showing their two-facedness when it comes to immigrant policies, which is that they love when Democrat voting Mexicans come from the southern center border, but they hate when Republican Cuban voters come from the southern eastern border. And I'm not saying that all Mexicans coming from the southern center border are going to vote Democrat, but Mexican, Hispanic, Latino groups, these are all people that leftists have already, in at least some way, got as a basis vote, because Democrats have always appealed to minority voters. And this has never been stronger in Hispanic, Latino, and African American communities, most of all. I think they've mostly lost the Asian vote at this point, especially with what happened at March of this year. But anyways, I guess my point of this whole flashback to what we talked about before was that the left is showing by these Florida votes that because there's all of these Cuban migrants now in Florida, right? Because they came from Cuba to Florida, that Florida, by association, is now an enemy state. Now, this has not been confirmed, but it's very easy to infer that because there's all of these Cuban migrants in Florida, and because they all have very anti-communist sentiments, that Florida has, through this migration, become more anti-communist, more anti-socialist, and in a small way, more anti-leftist, and therefore more of a red state. Leftists hate this, and so they're trying to throw the baby out with the bathwater and blame Florida for all of the world's problems, as they have with many other issues. Not Florida, but, blaming an external problem for, the world's problems, or America's problems specifically. So, of course, Florida's getting panned for COVID, and everyone is, complaining about, Florida, who just, won't wear their masks. But the truth is, it was never about that. It was about what's been going on in Cuba, the political polarization of states to either go more blue or more red, and with, of course, the influx of Cuban migrants, Florida becoming more red over time, and the leftist insatiable need for power and political gain by any means necessary.
And I'd like to add, Florida is seen as the enemy, not only because of what a child listed, but because it is the third largest state in the U.S. And that means they have a lot of electoral votes. And if a state has a lot of electoral votes, that means they have a lot of power in Congress. If they have a lot of power in Congress, they have a lot of power to elect the president. Just saying.
Yeah, no, that's a very important part of that, and I think that's only bolstered by the fact that all of these Cuban migrants are coming into the country. The illegal immigrants aren't getting counted, but the legal ones are. And again, plenty of the immigrants that are coming to America are legal. They're actually going through the process, which for many people coming in on our southern central border cannot be said the same. Now the thing is, right? When you have all of these immigrants coming in from one place, and they all have these ideas that are going against a particular political party, it does make sense that therefore the state would become more opposed to that political party and opposed to those ideas, and it would in general I just completely lost the words. Oh my god, that was such a fail.
You pulled the Joe Biden.
I pulled the Joe Biden. Oh
Dementia's
no.
developing.
No.
I'm in stage.
He's living here too much.
I'm in stage 2. Oh no.
He's lived in his mind too much.
Okay,
Dementia's
but like,
contagious.
okay,
No.
okay, but like the thing is, right? I guess it is, to be expected that Florida's population will only continue to grow with this new influx of Cuban migrants. The legal ones. And because of that, Florida will become a larger state, not in surface area, but in population, which is what matters. And with a higher population comes a higher voting power in the Electoral College, like Kaika said. And therefore, they will become even more of a danger to leftists, which is why they've been so militant about blaming Florida for COVID. That's all I have to say about that.
Yep. And I like Psaki's response. When I say Psaki, I'm referring to Jen Psaki, the White House press secretary. She tweeted out, I think it was today, 23% of new COVID hospitalizations in the U.S. are in Florida, and their hospitals are being overwhelmed again. We are doing everything we can do to help the people of Florida, and they're stepping up by getting vaccinated. Um, let's just be clear on this. As we pointed out like 5 minutes ago, Florida, and I counted this by the way, is the 26th highest state in terms of death rate, meaning 24 other states are higher than them in terms of the death rate per 100,000 people. So although Florida is contributing a lot to the hospitalizations, they aren't contributing a lot towards the death rate, which is realistically what we should care about. And that is because Florida has a large elderly population, and Ron DeSantis' strategy from the get-go was to vaccinate those people first. And when I mean vaccinate them, he really vaccinated all of them. And then, once he's done with those people, he vaccinated the people that are a little bit on the younger side.
I semi agree with my co-host Kaika, but I also do semi agree with California. The only thing I didn't like is how they didn't differentiate a guy working at a donut stand or a donut shop selling like food with a person in hospital like treating COVID patients. They thought they were both like front line workers,
Mm-hmm.
which I did not like at all. That was my one issue with how they dealt with whole like vaccination process.
All right, so quick thing to note here: Sonny's right, but New York imposed the same strategy as California. So there you go.
Yeah, New York isn't better. New York is bad.
And I don't know what New Jersey did, but they're the worst. I don't know what's happening there.
Oh, it's because of New Jersey Shore. You know that show?
Oh, isn't that like the Love Island thing? Or am I dumb?
I think you're dumb.
Yeah, well,
Like
I
the
don't watch TV.
ratchet, like people who are like always
Ratchet?
drunk.
Damn.
That's like a slang. My bad. Very
Gwen Berry slang.
not not well.
Also, it is very possible that the reason why California's death rate is lower is due to external factors. Because if New York's death rate was also lower, that would seem to point towards the idea that maybe this backwards batshit identity politics, sort of eugenics type vaccination thing might have actually been effective. But clearly, because the same thing was going on in New York, we can rule that out, at least mostly. And also, just from a moral standpoint, I don't think it's very good to be only giving a possibly life-saving vaccine to people who are of color or of victimhood status or whatever. You know what they're saying. But I think the other thing is that you need to look at Florida, and you need to look at California, and you need to realize that on some level they are very, very different cultures. Even though they are both American, you know, the difference between the Southeast and the Midwest, or like, the far, far Midwest, is extreme, especially when it comes to cultural differences. I think the reason why, California's death rate was lower might be because Californians are so absolutely ungodly, unforgiving, militant about wearing your mask, following CDC guidelines, and if you don't do that kind of stuff, you get ostracized by your friends. Because California, Silicon Valley, and for the most part, this sort of localized area around Los Angeles and SoCal has become, and actually to an extent, Northern California too, has just become an absolute, like, I don't want to say breeding ground, but like, I would say a high infestation point for, and echo chamber really, for these sort of liberal authoritarian status ideas to sort of spread and then mutate into more and more extreme forms. This is why you see all these like leftist hot takes coming from they're coming from essentially ideas that spawned in California, or should I say the Socialist People's Republic of California. It feels more like that every day. I guess the important part is that it does sort of make sense that California, the zealotly religious, well, not really religious, but like politically religious, state, it makes sense for them to have such a low death rate because there's so much social pressure and just absolutely blindly follow orders that, while does exist in New York, is also sort of it's sort of tampered down by the fact that New York is definitely very liberal and very leftist, but it also has somewhat more of an individualist background just because of New York's history. California's history has just always been essentially just hell on earth. So it does make sense that their death rate is lower. Ironically, the death rate is lower in hell, but
I think something else to point about these two states, California, or three states, California, Florida, and New York, is the fact that California is nice around pretty much throughout the year. So more people are likely to be outside.
When it's not on fire. When it's not on fire.
Right. But when you're outside, you're not transmitting the virus the same as you are transmitting it inside because the virus is not as effective outside. And in New York, where it's really fucking cold and not really that hot,
and
I mean,
cramps.
people are gonna be close together inside and spreading the virus. Now, I don't really think this excuses Florida in the slightest, because Florida has the highest elderly population behind Maine. So realistically, Florida should have one of the highest death rates in the country, but they don't. And that's a testament to Ron DeSantis' good leadership.
Right. Honestly, Ron DeSantis is an absolute alpha red pill Chad.
Definitely. We all like him.
Yeah.
Let's move on to clowning on Democrats just 1 year ago.
Again.
You guys should probably watch the video.
Is our entire show just clowning on Dems? Is that our entire show?
Yeah. Yes.
No, what?
No.
Nah.
We also clown on.
We also clown people in the Olympics.
Well,
with certain
we're
political
gonna do
views.
All right, let me.
There's clearly a very common thread here with all of our
You can watch
contents.
like the first 30 seconds of the clip.
I think it's going to be a very skeptical American public about taking the vaccine, and they should be.
We can't trust the president and take his word and take a vaccine that might cause harm to us.
If and when the vaccine comes, and it's not likely to go through all the tests that needs to be and the trials that are needed to be done.
Let's just say there's a vaccine that is approved and even distributed before the election. Would you get it?
Well, I think that's going to be an issue for all of us.
When we finally do, God willing, get a vaccine, who's going to take the shot? Who's going to take the shot?
We will need to have access to the vaccine results so we can make our independent assessment to make sure that Donald Trump's fingerprints are not on it.
You can be the first one to say, sign me up. They now say it's okay.
Is the vaccine safe? Frankly, I'm not going to trust the federal government's opinion. And I wouldn't recommend to New Yorkers based on the federal government's opinion.
Smash cut back into the podcast.
Okay, this video was like esoterically pleasing because you see this video, right, and you see how, like, I would argue rightfully skeptical and very I would say quite rational, although very politically motivated against Donald Trump, and essentially saying this vaccine is unsafe because Orange Man made it. And then, right, November comes around, Biden says he's going to deliver the real vaccine. It's the same thing from before, but now it has the Biden name on it, and everyone's like, oh my god, Biden, you saved us from COVID. And guess what? It's been like, somewhere in the ballpark of like, 4 or 3 months since, wide vaccine distribution, like in March. It's August. and we're still in this shit. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
yes, the lockdowns are starting to finally end, but now there's a Delta variant, and now there's schools possibly still going to keep remote learning. Now there's all these external variables, and you gotta think to yourself, is this ever gonna fucking end? And the truth is, it's not, because it's very politically advantageous to have the entire populace just on complete lockdown and completely subservient to the federal government. So yeah, they're gonna keep this shit going, and all of it stems from the fact that it's them in the power. When Trump made the vaccine, they were skeptical and they were cautious. They said you can't trust your federal government. And you know what? I agree. So I'm not going to trust them now.
Yeah, I'm surprised more people haven't been using that clip. Or any of those clips, to be honest. So yeah.
Oh no, those were photoshopped. I didn't say that.
You could Photoshop video. Let's go, poggers.
Well, to put this into perspective for those that see that there's nothing wrong with this, let's say
Which, first of all, how did you find this video? If you're like, go back to CNN.
Yeah, dude.
All right. So let's take this perspective. Let's say there was a product. What's a non-controversial product?
Latex.
All right. Let's go with the rape whistle. Right.
Rape pistol? What did you say?
Whistle.
Oh, okay.
So let's say.
Why that? What the hell?
Let's say that the person promoting it is Bill Cosby. Would you seriously think that's like a good thing? But then again, actually, that's a shit. Cut that shit out. No, I don't. Even, that was such a bad analogy.
Where are you gonna go with that, man?
I don't know. To be honest, I'm on drugs right now, so I'm like loopy.
Okay. Bill Cosby?
Oh, what? Oh, cut that out. Start again.
So, Chad, what do you think about Bill Cosby?
All right, then let's go back. All right, so to put my thoughts into this, I think that it's very hypocritical for them to say this just because Trump said, like, "Hey, this is good for you," or whatever. It was behind Trump, like he was the spokesperson for this. But then go do like a 180 and just say, "Yo, take the vaccine." Like, don't you want us to have the same skepticism as you did? I just think it's kind of bullshit.
And of course, now they're trying to make it not just the right choice, not just the thing you should trust the government for, which is ironic because that was the exact opposite thing they were saying when Trump was releasing the vaccine. Be skeptical of the federal government. Now the federal government has smartened up under the sun rays of this beautiful, beautiful sun king, Joe Biden, who we've already clowned on enough, but I want to focus on the fact that now the leftists are essentially saying, trust the federal government. And when some people, I would argue rightfully skeptically, said no, they said, we're not the Republicans. You never had a choice in the matter. Let's go on to our next topic, vaccine passports. What the fuck is going on? Why do we live in this reality? Okay, so this is an article from oh my god, the Washington Post on
Yahoo.
Yeah, it's on Yahoo News.
Dude, I'm hip. I use Yahoo, man.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm hip. I use AOL.
We're so in the loop. We're just like,
I need to listen to Keemstar to keep me in the loop.
Okay, so this article says you're gonna be asked how to prove your vaccination status. No question about it. You are going to be asked to prove that you have been vaccinated. If you haven't been vaccinated, you're subhuman. You have to prove it. You cannot just say you've been vaccinated and walk along. You cannot just slide by if you don't want to take the vaccine. No. You need to prove it. You need to show to the federal government that you are a good lapdog and that you will listen to the orders that you have been given. So, let's see. How are we going to prove our vaccination status? Okay, quote. Congratulations, you've been vaccinated against the coronavirus. Now you have to prove it, and your smartphone can help. Oh, Oh god, I just want to fucking neck myself. That's such a great opening.
It's probably gonna be like a QR code or something that proves that you've been vaccinated or something.
So, across the world, fears about the contagious Delta variant have been spread by mainstream headcanon, are leading more businesses, schools, and travel destinations to require vaccination. Okay, nothing wrong with this. This is, private companies, private citizens making choices. If you want to be like that, I understand. Even my parents' businesses do that, and you know what? It's fine, right? But now they're saying, like it or not, there's a real chance that somewhere you want to go, they will have to ask to see proof of your shots. Now, I think what they've completely left out is, normally when you go to a store pre-pandemic, right? Some stores would have a sign that says no shoes, no shirt, no service, right? This was basically to stop, like hobos from coming in, right? And just ruining the place for whatever reason. But the important part is that if you were homeless or you didn't have shoes or a shirt or whatever, and you weren't allowed to come in, you just left and you would continue on your day as normal. But I don't think that that's what they're talking about, because the reason why they say you're gonna have to be asked to prove your vaccination status seems to me like they're talking about what is essentially either a vaccine passport or the predecessor to it. So we're seeing this unfold, right above our eyes, right before our eyes. And, okay, so this next part is very interesting, because I've actually, been to Hawaii, but I've never been there on the pandemic days. A couple of my friends have, though. And they've told me that, apparently, you have to wait 2 weeks in quarantine. Now, if you've ever been to Hawaii, it's expensive as hell. All of the hotels are incredibly overpriced. It can take up to, $10,000 for business class flight to and from Hawaii. It's expensive. It's real. And, spending 2 weeks in a hotel that you have to constantly pay for, where you don't get to do anything and you just have to sit there in quarantine until, Hawaii says, okay, you can come out now. That's not that great. It's no surprise, therefore, that, over 2020, vacations to Hawaii and a lot of exotic destinations like that have been steadily declining. And only recently have they started to rise again ever since restrictions have been lifted. So let's say you're planning to visit Hawaii. You'll need to be vaccinated or show a negative coronavirus test if you want to avoid quarantine. Okay, so there's if you're not vaccinated, but if you're not COVID positive and you get a test and you can prove it, then, that's fair enough. I think that's completely reasonable. Oh no. Oh no. Oh, it's getting worse. Okay, so apparently you will need this proof to work in the federal government and at tech firms such as Google, Facebook, and motherfucking Uber. Yes, you need to prove that you are vaccinated to be an Uber driver. I mean, I guess that makes sense because you're going to be in contact with a lot of people, but that should only ever be in service of you, not the people you're picking up. Because, I mean, if you're infected and you get positive, you just don't drive your car. You stay inside and self-quarantine. That's completely pointless. And, of course, the fact that they're requiring vaccine certification to work in the federal government may inevitably expand to getting benefits from the federal government. You'll need vaccine proof, which would be not great. A little dystopian, actually. So how do we do that without carrying your white card from the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention everywhere you go? There's a growing number of ways to store your vaccination record on your smartphone, which can all be hacked, but whatever. We're trying we're here to make sense of how different options approach your privacy, ensure security, and try to spot counterfeits. Just know this technology is still evolving, so, you know, if you get hit, it's your own fault. Let's see. Oh, there's a story continues button. I really want to see this. Whether businesses or governments should ask you to prove your vaccination status is a deeply personal and political topic. Thank you, Yahoo News and the Washington Post, for finally uncovering the root of the issue. Apps known as vaccine passports helped fuel a long-running debate over personal freedom versus public health, and some places banned them before they were even developed. The first state-sponsored app, New York's Excelsior Pass, failed to pick up wide traction this spring after infection rates dropped, among other concerns. The term vaccine passport may be out of fashion, which of course just means it's kind of a bad look to make citizens prove that they're vaccinated, when it should have always been an optional action in the first place. But you might have more digital options than you realize, which is to say, instead of having, you know, a physical piece of proof, you'll have a digital piece of proof, which is even easier to modify, steal, corrupt, or completely copy and use to impersonate you. You know what happened with, you know, when they made social security numbers, and now basically it's the, like, hacker's guide on how to steal identities is just take their security number, which is currently being, you know, given out on the internet. Way too much. I'm sorry, I'm going on a bit of a tangent, but I guess my point is that, you know, the idea of making the vaccine passport digital, the fact that a vaccine passport exists at all, should be worrying in and of itself. But the fact that it's digital means that, you know, most people who, you know, get one might not have it for much longer, because there will always be people who try to ruin other people's lives for things as petty as, oh, maybe a political disagreement. I'm sure you all can see where this is going. Let's see, why am I going digital? You know, concerns over the environment and using paper and fraudulent paper records, which is, of course, hilarious because digital is even less secure. And yeah, so there's basically this entire article is just a summary of how you can prove to other people whether or not you've been vaccinated. But I guess I just want to end on this. I don't think the question should be how. I think the question should be why. Why do you have to prove that you're vaccinated to, you know, work in the government, or essentially, you know, be a part of the government? And of course, that's going to eventually expand to be a citizen under the government. It's just absolutely ridiculous. Do I support private businesses doing this on their own volition? Yes, with the asterisk that if it becomes too inconvenient, competition should be allowed to arise that doesn't do this. So, you know, the people's opinion and choice can be heard. But when it comes to the government, no, I don't think that this should be a thing, even though I know it's definitely going to. And yeah, so it doesn't seem like anything now, but considering how COVID has escalated over this time, it's very likely that this will expand and get a lot worse. And we will be there the entire time, criticizing and ranting, and ultimately doing nothing. Let's move on to the next topic, because that was a very long diatribe.
Before we move on, I want to mention, remember those like fringe people on the right that were claiming that we'll eventually get to where Jews were during the Holocaust, where they had like a Jew badge on their arm?
Yeah,
it looks like we might be getting closer to that with vaccines, just saying.
Really hoping not, but it's possible. Although I guess in this version would be like a good thing.
Yeah. Alright. I got nothing. The only thing I can say is, like, well, for back to the Hawaii thing, the only way you can have the 2-week like quarantine is if you test positive. If you test negative or have a vaccine, that you don't have to do a 2-week quarantine. And I would know because I went. So yeah, next topic, I suppose.
So in South Korea, they detected 2 new cases of what they are dubbing the Delta Plus variant.
Yo, is that like Pornhub Premium? It's like a
Delta
better
Plus?
version.
Yeah, dude, it's like the Disney Plus. So
It's like Disney Plus. Yo, where's my Loki?
Oh, I don't know. I think
Do I
you
get
get
to see
it when you get it. You
Black
know?
Widow?
Yes, for free.
Yo. All right. Continue.
That's it. It's just a
That's
little bit
it?
more contagious than the
Delta?
Delta variant. So the Delta variant, which is
Wait a
already
minute.
more contagious than the regular variant, is
Wait.
now multiplying into the Delta Plus variant, which is more contagious than the
Whoa.
Delta variant.
You know,
Wow.
now
For
that
those-
I think about it, you know, I gotta say this just sort of reeks of bioengineering. I know that it's sort of like a meme that that the you know, the Chinese Wuhan labs engineered COVID-19, but considering how many new strains are coming out that are always better, why are all of them always better? Like, is it possible, like, hold on, that if this was a truly natural genesis of an infectious disease, that some of the offshoots would be less infectious or less transmissible? Because that's what happens in the wild. Because you know that, okay, I'm sure you both know this, but just for our viewers who may not, mutation is a random throw of the dice. It is complete random chance, and the best are filtered through natural selection, but it's not about them being the best, it's about them being good enough. And because COVID currently has a grasp over a lot of the world right now, it makes sense that we would start to see some less infectious variants still gaining a hold because there's just so much COVID going around. And yet, we're only finding better strains. That seems to me like iterations, like a conscious process of continuous updates. Like, you know, the new iPhone you get every year. But now it's a virus that infects and kills people. Like, I'm not saying that that's necessarily what's going to happen. I'm saying this entire situation smells fishy.
No. For those Loki fans out there, you got the Delta variant and then you got the Delta Plus.
The Delta Disney Plus variant.
The Plus gives you more perks.
These two don't know it because they haven't seen Loki, but for those Loki fans out there, you know what I'm talking.
Okay, so what's our next topic?
The best topic on here. Come on. Alright, so basically, you guys know me. I like talking about the NFL every single episode.
Every episode.
I always try to wiggle it in. This one is probably the smallest I'll bring up ever. I'll probably go on a 1-2 minute rant and they'll say they're 1 second.
Yo, let's talk about the baby boys.
Gosh dang. Anyways, the NFL is basically going to require their players to have the vaccine, as we said before, with the bloody fucking vaccine pass. And a lot of players are not happy about it. One, for example, very popular player, his name's DeAndre Hopkins. He's a wide receiver for the Arizona Cardinals. And he says this. He says, if they're going to force me to take the vaccine, I'm going to retire. Now, it's kind of stupid how they're just forcing their players to like fucking get the vaccine. It's not in their contracts to do so they don't have to, and they're basically. So the NFL base said this, like, if any of your players like people on your team get COVID, for the rest of the year, your team will not play for the season, and that like got a lot more players mad. Like, yo, why are you doing this? So, yeah, what's your guys' thoughts on this?
About the NFL or the football player?
Everything I said about like how they have to get the vaccine and such.
I mean, as Chow said, it's a private company, right? So they could do what they want. Do I think it's right? Maybe. It's like what Chow said earlier about culture. Different states and the NFL, different
Mm-hmm.
people. I'm not saying a lot of the players are from the state that they represent, but some of them are, right? They have different cultures, and that's how
Yeah.
they're brought up, right? So maybe I feel like it should be on a team by team basis.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing.
Personally,
I would
probably say no, like just from a personal standpoint. But I don't think that it's inherently like amoral or bad. It's just like, in my opinion, I feel like that's bad practice. But I do recognize that that comes from a subjective understanding that might not understand all of the nuances that go into, being on an NFL team or managing one. I don't do that, so I wouldn't know. I guess my only thing is, like, I don't know why that's a requirement. I don't understand the logos behind it, but I guess it's not really my business. Again, like what Kaika said, and like what I said before, it is a private business. I don't think it's tyranny. I don't think it's unjust, but I don't think it's a good thing, if that makes sense.
Right. It's like the gender issue for restrooms. It's like a private thing, whether you believe it's good or bad, right?
I mean,
up to
like,
personal preference.
I hate when people say this because it's one of the most spineless things ever, but in this specific context, I feel like it kind of follows. I personally disagree with it. That doesn't mean that I politically disagree with it. That doesn't mean that I think that it's it shouldn't be allowed. But I personally disagree with it. I don't think that it's right. But that doesn't necessarily mean that it's so not right that I think something should be done to affect it.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, is that it? Is that your guys' thoughts?
Yeah.
All right.
This was kind of a good topic.
Yeah, it's like a week old. Anyways, next topic.
Speaking of COVID, let's talk about someone who's gained a lot of popularity due to COVID. Andrew Cuomo, boys.
Andrew
Cuomo. Whoa, not this guy again. I like his brother better.
Chris Cuomo.
I don't know his name. Fucking don't care.
Chris Cuomo is the CNN anchor, so
even better. Even better.
Really unbiased family.
Bro, they're the mere copy of us.
Exactly.
Oh my god, it's like, yeah.
They're the clone of us. We came first.
Thousands of people in elderly homes.
Wait, what?
The bizarre Neo realm.
All right, let's go into the actual topic.
Yeah. So let's give some context. Andrew Cuomo, he's the governor of New York. Initially, he got praised by the left for his handling of COVID. He got quite the opposite backlash from the right, and I feel like it's justified because he's contributed to the death of thousands of people in New York.
Yeah.
Because he sent COVID positive patients in retirement homes.
Didn't we already cover this?
No, it's a little different. I'm setting up context.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And that contributed to a lot of people's deaths. Now, people on the left are not mad about the retirement home scandal. What they're mad about is the sexual assault scandal that he's having. So, I think 2 or 3 months ago, it was revealed that 11 women came forward with their own stories about Andrew Cuomo. The Attorney General of New York investigated these women, the woman claims, and they found that it is true. What they were saying is, not statistically, but they're not wrong, but they also are not right, in the sense that Andrew Cuomo cannot be prosecuted, or if he is prosecuted, it's going to be a long shot. What their claims were to be confirmed of, and I'll read them, is Miss Bennett and Trooper Number 1. Trooper Number 1 is anonymous. Andrew Cuomo repeatedly said that he wants a girlfriend who can handle pain. Trooper Number 1 told...
Wait, what?
Yeah, so this is considered like sexual assault in New York.
Kinky ass.
Yeah, it gets worse, by the way. Yeah, I know. It sounds so petty right now.
It's kind of weird.
But it gets worse. Trooper Number 1 also said that...
Kind of weird, champ.
Yeah. Andrew Cuomo shared his experiences and views about monogamy, which we all know what that means. Miss Bennett, we're going back to Miss Bennett, said that whether an employee had been with an older man, Miss Bennett would be told by Andrew Cuomo to feel lonely and wanting to be touched, which is kind of weird. But it's like, it's weird, but it's not illegal, right? Let's make that clear.
Right.
Ms. Bennett also said the attractiveness of the employee, or like Andrew Cuomo said that she's attractive, and he compared her to an ex-girlfriend she had, which we know what that means. It's not illegal, but it's weird.
It's very weird.
Okay.
Another woman named Miss Boyland, I don't know her relation to Andrew Cuomo, said that Andrew Cuomo wanted her to go out with the two assistants, and he called them mingle mamas, which is weird.
I don't want that sounds so petty.
Yeah,
like, bro, your partner doesn't want to date you or something? Like, what?
No, like, the women are mad that Andrew Cuomo's, like, essentially catcalling them.
That's like...
What?
Yeah, it's weird,
it's
right?
so stupid.
Who cares?
The problem is the like, sexual assault laws.
But, like...
Right. But the SA laws in New York are so broad that this might be considered SA.
Essay?
Yeah, SA.
Essay.
You guys get it, right? Essay.
Essay. What are you trying to say?
Sexual assault.
Oh.
Bro, alright.
Just say sexual assault. It's not that big of a deal.
Yeah. I know, but it's like, I feel like
but this is more, this is sexual harassment. This isn't assault.
Yeah,
I know.
SH. Shh.
Yes,
technically the AG is saying this is SA. Alright.
No, but like, an article I'm reading says it's sexual harassment, but go on.
Honestly,
I'm reading it right now, the AG's report. She's saying that this is under SA. I don't, whatever. Another woman that is executive assistant number 1, protected her name for anonymity, and Miss McGrath, I don't know how to pronounce her name, said that Andrew Cuomo, whether an aide, would be willing to cheat on her partner. So like he was like he wanted to cheat if we're ever together, would you cheat on me or whatever? Which is kind of weird because they're not really together, right? Executive assistant number 1 and Miss McGrath again said that Andrew Cuomo challenged them to play strip poker, which is like, now we're getting to the weird stuff. All right, this is getting really weird.
Were we not at the weird stuff before?
Like, it's weird, right? Would you classify this weird? It's like catcalling to me. It's nothing overly insane, but maybe it's weird. Maybe I don't know.
When it comes to, the field of sexual harassment and sexual assault claims, I feel like on some level, the mainstream consensus has been, assume guilty until proven innocent.
Unless you're a Democrat.
Well, I mean, yeah, obviously. With Democrat, it's claim innocence and then never host a trial to figure out the truth. But the thing is, right? With everyone else, it's just it's the opposite of what we should have, which is guilty until proven innocent. But also, I think that there's a lot of things that constitute sexual harassment that I don't really think are. I think there's a gray area in, I would argue, what can only be described as sexual misdirection. And on some level, I think that a lot of people are charged for sexual harassment claims when in reality they, it wasn't about, taking control or a power fantasy or abusing another person. It was essentially just a misunderstanding. I know that sounds like I'm, sort of apologizing for rapists, which I'm not. If you've raped someone, obviously that should be a charge. That should be an offense. I would argue that'd be a felony, right? But the thing is, right, I think that there's a gray area in between, like, there's a gray area in between the two extremes of you're raping someone or you're, like, the step before you're raping someone. And then there's just, like, normal sexual activity with consenting adults. And the gray area in between has been defaulted to. Anything that's even a little bit weird is automatically sexual harassment, automatically sexual assault. And, the male in the situation always has to be charged and whatever. But I don't think it should be like that. Now, this sounds very extreme, because it is. But I think that on a certain level that weird behavior should be dealt with on an individual level. Now, of course, at some point, it's literally just rape. And at that point, yes, it should be taken to trial and it should be taken to courts and it should be that serious. But other than that, I don't know. I don't think it's that deep.
Yeah. Let's continue, though. Andrew Cuomo told Miss Boylan, who's another woman, that he would rather her put her tattoo on her butt as opposed to the shoulder, which is weird.
Yeah.
Andrew Cuomo told Miss Bennett that he wanted to alter the locations of her piercings opposed to where she would put it in the ears, which, probably in the stomach area or down below, who knows. Also, Miss Bennett, Andrew Cuomo told her that he would individually and collectively constitute unlawful sexual harassment, which I don't actually know what that means, but that's what the AG wrote. And yeah, that's it. So the AG goes to write that although these are definitely harassing and to some degree constitute assault, she won't push this in court because it's hard to make a case for this. Yeah. Right? Because Andrew Cuomo's 60 years old.
Yeah, also
his jokes are weird.
Yeah, and also is he's a Democrat, so
To be fair, let's put this in context. The AG actually wants to be the governor of New York. So, if she wants to make a power play, she could call for Andrew Cuomo's resignation. And,
the Attorney General, being Letitia, I believe that's how you pronounce her name, James.
Yeah.
I don't know. It was kind of sus.
Yo,
looking at her announces stuff.
Yo, do not say sus on this podcast. That is my
She's wearing
job.
some kind of red.
That is my job, you sussy baka.
No.
Oh no, nuclear
People are
option.
gonna clip that.
Nuke the podcast.
No.
Also, I just want to mention this. How do you even confirm these claims?
Yeah.
Right?
Is there like some voice recordings?
No, that's the thing. There's this. What?
Yeah, go for it, Chow.
I was saying there's like this weird like double standard power play where you have, there's the superpower of woman and then there's superpower of Democrat, and it's like I don't know who's gonna win this situation, but either way, it's gonna be a complete power play.
It's like Congress asking for Richard Nixon's fucking recordings,
Yeah.
And they got the recordings in the basement, and Richard Nixon's hiding them, bro.
I mean, it's a black person versus a white person. In this day and age, who do you think they're gonna believe?
Oh,
Andrew
yeah.
Cuomo has more power, though. Right,
Huh?
it's all about Andrew Cuomo has more power, and it's all about power.
Well, that leads us to our next topic, or a thing about this Andrew Cuomo.
Yeah, Andrew Cuomo. Biden calls for his resignation.
That's someone with power.
Yeah, he has a lot of power, and everyone is expecting this. So yeah.
I mean, not as much power as we do. As Sons of Liberty.
Yeah,
Sons of Liberty. We single-handedly swing elections.
Exactly.
Also,
we let Biden win the election.
I gotta say,
so we can clown on him.
Bro, content.
Exactly.
Also,
Trump, we didn't get as many views as we did for Biden.
Also, I think it's kind of funny that we were talking about sexual harassment allegations for Andrew Cuomo, but honestly, hearing about all the shit that's going on with the claims and also Joe Biden calling for his resignation, I feel like the only one being sexually harassed is Cuomo.
I mean, I don't want to say anything because maybe these women, we haven't seen the full evidence, of course, right? We don't know what she did.
What evidence is there, though?
Right.
That's the thing.
She hasn't released it, so I don't want to comment on it and say, oh, this is definitely not true, but I'm also not going to comment and say, this is definitely true. Innocent until proven guilty.
Yeah, exactly.
That's how I view it.
Yeah.
I mean, technically, he's been proven guilty, but yeah.
Yeah, but it's when you look at the evidence, and there's very minimal evidence right now. Like, I don't know. I'd rather see this go in court and have the prosecutors place their evidence and make a decision or judgment from then point on. So, yeah.
Man, I wish it was Bernie Sanders being found guilty. Think about the amount of views you'd have.
The thing about Bernie Sanders is he's old, and he's
exactly.
So
exactly.
let's
better.
just say that his
Boomer.
he's
Boomer
not
alert.
sexually driven anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's talk about something closely related to Biden, which is COVID-19 origins.
Again? Great.
Yeah, but this time we're gonna go into it's not like a fringe conspiracy theory, but it has some merit to it.
How are we
Honestly,
gonna prove that
everything-
us people on the right are not conspiracy theorists? Come on.
Everyone's a conspiracy theorist, you know.
Yeah, in
so.
some way. I mean, especially with how, unified information is nowadays. Everyone's getting different sources, different channels. Yeah,
Right.
honestly, everyone's kind of a conspiracy theorist now.
I mean, obviously they're not going to a very factual channel if they're not like, looking at our channel.
I
you
mean,
know?
no,
Exactly.
I mean, look, Sons of Liberty, we're basically just like CNN, but better. Come on.
No, we're just not fake. We're
We're the
real.
Keemstar of politics.
We are the
No.
Keemstars of
No.
politics.
Because then they're gonna find a clip of us all saying the no word.
Yeah, bet.
Where are they
bet.
gonna find it? I've never said that word.
I mean,
Alright.
I have.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. I've never said that.
I heard
Alright.
y'all just like
You know,
outed
no,
himself.
I got it. Okay, so because this podcast has 3 members, we're each of the 3 parts of Keemstar. Kaika is the analytical part of the brain. Sonny is the sort of the very extroverted social butterfly part of Keemstar's brain.
Could just say the sports side of Keemstar, but no, you had to go a harder route.
Bro, Keemstar doesn't like sports. What are you talking about?
Keemstar doesn't go to football games. He doesn't go to boxing events. No.
The
How about we
three,
just put-
How is the bombastic side of Keemstar?
no,
Keemstar, yeah.
no. And the 3 parts combined together, you get this absolute like pedestal of what drama and reaction YouTubing can be. Except
like-
now it's about politics. And
I feel like
even
Chow-
more racist.
I feel like
What a
Chow's
tweet
the.
on Twitter.
I feel like Chow is the Twitter part of Keemstar.
Yes.
How he's always ranting on Twitter.
Yes.
And like,
Okay, I don't really rant on Twitter that
Yeah.
much. I mean, I do
no,
sometimes,
no.
but, like,
What I mean by that is like Keemstar rants a lot on Twitter, but he doesn't rant on his YouTube page.
yeah, so like I'm the exact
Like the
opposite.
ranting part.
Yeah, I got you.
No.
I am the unsilenceable part of Keemstar's brain.
How we? Let's just change his channel to Sons of Liberty News.
Bro,
You
know what?
We're not,
You
we're not
know
talking
what?
about that right now. We'll talk about it another time.
we're changing the channel name from Sons of Liberty to Liberty Alert. Boom.
No, to Keem of Liberty.
Shut up.
No, Sons of Keem.
Sons of Keem.
Oh, no. Sons of Drama. Bet.
Sons of Drama Alert.
Yep, okay. Okay, so now that
we're
we've...
talking about origins, right?
Yeah, now that we've driven that meme and dead to the ground, let's talk
I don't think
about...
are we gonna keep that part?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, hell yeah. Okay, so let's talk about COVID-19 origins, and this comes from the New York Times. In this article, they say, the committee staff also unearthed an archived version of a contract competition for a new $1.3 million security service procurement project that was archived by the Wuhan Institute of Virology on September 12th, 2019. I forgot,
Sussy,
2019.
sussy,
Did you say Wuhan?
Yeah, Wuhan.
Sussy.
Sussy alert.
Sauce he vented. COVID vented to America.
Sussy vented.
The same day the
I
virus
have a brain
database.
tumor.
The same day the virus database went mysteriously offline. 4 days later. Oh, did you guys catch that, by the way?
What?
The project was archived by the Wuhan
Yeah,
Institute
yeah.
of Virology on September 12, 2019. Same day the virus database went mysteriously offline.
Yeah.
4 days later, the Wuhan Institute of Virology announced a new contract competition to completely renovate its air conditioning system for an estimated $606 million.
What kind of fucking air conditioning is that?
I mean, what
That
do you
is some
think?
good ass air conditioning. Can we have the air conditioning?
By the way, both contracts.
Is it possible that COVID has been specifically engineered to survive the best in air-conditioned human urban environments.
Bro, they're
Okay,
venting
let me
all
give
over the
you a
place.
more-
They're using the air conditioning vents to vent all over the world,
Oh
bro.
my god,
Guys.
no way. Wuhan is the imposter.
Wuhan started Among Us. Don't change my mind.
Let's mention this. Both contract announcement were later scrubbed from the Chinese Ministry of Finance website.
Well, I mean,
Now,
of course they were. It's China.
by the way, what these knuckleheads are not getting, by the way, is that they probably got a new air conditioning system so that the
Play Among Us.
viruses in the air will go away, because COVID is airborne, by the way. Just saying.
Okay.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
Wait, you think that getting a new AC system is gonna blow the virus, the droplets away?
Oh yeah,
America.
that's a serious thing. Yes, no. People like companies in the U.S. are getting new AC systems to make sure that the air is ventilated properly so people won't catch COVID. So this is a serious thing, especially when you're spending that much dough.
That's both really stupid and really smart.
Yeah, right.
I understand the American side, but I don't know.
Like, why would they do that? Coincidentally, when COVID probably originated in China, right? Give or take a couple of days, because I can't remember the exact month, but
Yo, I don't mean to like totally interrupt, but we're coming up on 70 minutes of podcast.
Oh, nice. Let's go. Let's go to the Olympics.
Oh,
Poggers.
bet.
Yo, we have to make this part decently long because it's the only part we actually get views on.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, true.
What were you talking about? What's
Oneberry. Oh, no, are we not going to the Olympics?
no?
Oh.
You said you wanted me to talk about the COVID-19 origins.
No, I want to talk about like longer the Olympics.
No, yeah, no.
Okay.
Actually, I think we should talk about the COVID-19 origins more, because I think there's a
okay.
lot of juicy information here.
Nah, but sports, chow.
Oh
Sports.
my!
All right. I'll just mention one quick thing about the 19 origins. Okay. So coincidentally, remember when a couple episodes ago, I can't remember which one, we mentioned that close to December or November, 2 Chinese Wuhan Institute scientists were infected with some new type of disease. And if they got a new air conditioning system on September 12th, some people are saying, maybe around this time, the scientists in the facility knew that they were infected with COVID, and they needed a new air conditioning system to get rid of COVID in there, because by that time it should have been airborne. Just saying. Cool, let's move on to the Olympics.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Let's talk about this dumb bitch, right? I could take it away.
Gwen Berry is the dumb bitch he's referring to.
Whoa, how do you know that? What?
Yeah. All right, buddy. All right. So Gwen Berry during the Olympics, as per usual, she turned away from the U.S. flag and won nothing at the Olympics. She didn't get anything, not even bronze.
Bro, has she not learned from Colin Kaepernick? He kneeled on the flag, lost in the Super Bowl. Like, come on. Did she not learn anything?
She didn't, obviously, because she lost, and she turned away from the flag.
God was not on her side. Because
Exactly.
God isn't real.
That's so ironic to come from you too.
Believing people in this call. Hell yeah.
It's so ironic to come from you too. So, anyways.
Yeah. So, anyways, there on the flip side, there was this woman in the wrestling division for the Olympics that represented America. She won gold at the Olympics, and she had some nice words about America and her tenure.
Last question for you. That American flag around your shoulders looks pretty good. How does that feel to represent your country like this?
It feels amazing. I love representing the U.S. I freaking love living there. I love it, and I'm so happy I get to represent USA! Love it.
Well said. Congratulations. Enjoy that gold, and we'll see you out there on the podium, okay?
Thank you. I'll try not to cry, but no promises.
Alright, so this is what I love, right? People like her and other people that I know in, like, in the fucking sports industry, that's what I love. And they always win. People like Gwen Berry and Colin Kaepernick, they don't win. They make it to the end and then don't win. Like, come on. Like, you made it to the Olympics, props on you, but you didn't win shit. Colin Kaepernick, you went to Super Bowl, props on you, you didn't win shit. Okay? Her, she loves her country, loves supporting it, and we love seeing it.
I think we'd all agree it's kind of heartwarming that and I'm sorry for butchering her name, that Mensah-Stock said all that. And she looked like she was proud of what she accomplished and the country she didn't serve, but you know what I mean. Just heartwarming stuff there.
Yeah. Here at Sons of Liberty, I'm speaking for all of us. Fuck you guys. You guys get no opinion. We love you. I don't know how to pronounce your name, but you are amazing. Continue representing us. Obviously, you're really good at the sport. Keep going.
Yeah.
All right, y'all.
Yeah. So Cori Bush is a House representative from Minnesota, from Minnesota's 1st District. She's one of the members of the Progressive Squad. Who's a part of that. It's like AOC and some other women. I forgot the names too because they're not as relevant as AOC. And recently the CDC, it's not really the CDC did anything. They had like an eviction moratorium that expired. So what the policy did was you can't be evicted from your rent, even if you don't pay it. And that just ran out. Just expired.
Damn.
Right. I mean, like, what are you gonna do about that? So Cori Bush went onto the steps of Capitol Hill. She got a sleeping bag, a pillow, and just started sleeping and camping out there until the eviction how do you pronounce this? Moratorium, that's how you pronounce it, was extended. And I just want to mention, she is trying to take the reason why she's sleeping on the steps of Capitol Hill is to represent what a homeless person has to go through.
That's not homeless. At least she got a neck pillow.
Yeah, I'm just
she
saying.
got a bunch of snacks, comfortable chair.
Right, look at the shit she's surrounded by. She's surrounded by capitalist products, Oreos, sleeping bags, a fucking pillow with some type of logo that's probably licensed to a company, a Ruffles bag, a book, a lot of bags of shit, and some type of probably hydro flask to the right. How does this represent a homeless person situation? In what way? In what world?
High ass and homeless person.
Virtue signaling.
Bro, that looks like more like camping than actual fucking.
Bro, she's literally just camping. Like
she's luxury camping.
Okay. Also,
and it's really nice at DC at this time of year because it's summer.
That's why she did it. I fucking know it.
Yeah.
Also, I think it's kind of funny to think because if she really was trying to represent the homeless life without actually going through all the limits to put herself down to that level just so that she could more effectively virtue signal, I think it kind of proves how spoiled she is by capitalism, like as you guys were saying, because she has her Ruffles, and she has her nice pillow in her chair, and her book, and she bought all those things with money, and she bought all those things going through the free market, and of course it's those ideas that she is in some way trying to critique by doing this act of virtue signaling, and yet it is this system that has allowed her to virtue signal like this in the first place. The fact that there are all of these little things that prove that it's just an act, the fact that it is just an act and that she isn't actually homeless is because of capitalism. If this was a communist country, she would either be incredibly rich as part of the 0.1% that run the government, or she actually would be homeless and starving with no Ruffles bags. So,
yeah,
it's funny.
It's funny. Let's call on her. Yay.
Wow. Imagine being luxurious, bro.
Okay.
Imagine trying to imitate homeless people and having luxury.
Look, homeless people are incredibly sad, but also incredibly funny. We all establish this, right? Laughing at other people's plight. But we have a much more important topic.
Oh my goodness.
We're gonna make it the fucking title of the podcast episode.
No.
But
no.
We save it to the end so that we can officially clickbait you, okay? This topic brings a tear to my eye because gaming PCs and bacon have just been banned in California. Man, fuck this state. No, not the state. This state. I want to get out.
Okay, so not only this state, but Hawaii, Oregon, and Vermont, Washington, and Colorado has banned PCs. For the bacon, I think it's just California, right?
But California is such a large importer of bacon that it will have downstream effects in other states, so don't worry about that. Like, it's all around a fuck situation.
Okay,
yeah.
So, PCs to bacon.
Exactly.
This time,
plus, guys, you got a better bacon called turkey bacon, all right? That shit slaps, all right?
Wrong.
Yeah,
okay.
Cap.
Yeah,
helmet.
That is some major helmet. Okay,
he's helmeting.
Yeah.
Helmeting. Imagine helmet out. Or I think I mentioned that to Chow when we were playing Halo. Helmeting.
Yeah. Anyways, so about the gaming PCs. So here's the deal. All right, they're not banning all gaming PCs. They're just banning inefficient high-end PCs, mostly from Dell, because
makes sense.
They're essentially rip-offs, and they're using way more power than they need to give basically lackluster performance, and so those are being banned for essentially environmental concerns. But the reason why I'm crying about it on this this podcast isn't because I'm a real big Dell fan. I mean, Dell was my first computer, but it sucked, and I had to get an upgrade in like a year. No, yeah, fuck Dell. But the thing is, like, the problem is I don't want this to expand. I do not want people, like, head-ass thinking that gaming PCs are the reason why climate change is a problem. Do they use energy? Yes. But if you want to fix that, fix the energy. Don't fix the gaming PCs. And, you know, you can say, oh yeah, we'll just put down more solar panels or wind farms. That'll fix the energy crisis. But the truth is, this is a solution that a lot of people haven't been talking about, and it's right under our fucking noses. Nuclear power. It's not hard. I mean, well,
yeah. Nothing goes wrong with that, Chernobyl.
Okay, Chernobyl was a specific situation with arguably less developed technology, and look, is Chernobyl possible to happen again when nuclear power becomes mainstream?
Yeah.
Yes, but we have ways of circumventing that. For example, thorium reactors, which can't melt down unless the actual reacting element, plutonium, is left with the thorium. And most thorium reactors are actually built with a system where if the reactor starts melting down and a critical mass is beginning to form, then the thorium, which is used to react with the plutonium, will leak out into a chamber and reaction will immediately cease. Compare this to uranium reactors, which you just can't stop. If it melts down, and you have Chernobyl too. So thorium reactors could seriously prove to be a really helpful and practical solution to the US's energy crisis. But instead of pushing for that, which is an actually sustainable solution, they're like, oh, we'll just use the solar panels, or oh, we'll just use the wind. And while they're better than fossil fuels, I mean, you know, for the environment, they suck at getting reliable power. And, you know, frankly, I don't think that we should be forcing everyone in the middle class to give up fork out a bunch of money to get solar panels in their house so they can have to rely on a limited power bank and batteries, which also hurt the planet, you know, mining lithium from the earth, right? To be forced to live on limited power supplies during the night in their own limited power grids. And if they're not in their own limited power grids and they're just connected to the normal power grid, then it's completely fucking useless because they'll just use power from the main anyway. Ultimately, there are solutions to this problem, but leftists don't want to see them. They provide non-solutions that give them more power. It's how this has always been. And then you have the fucking cringe right-wingers who are like, we don't need to solve climate change. It's not going to hurt us. And while it's not nearly as bad as leftists make it out to be, it's still a problem. It's still a problem that we want to solve. Not even just for the planet warming up, but also for rising sea levels, for the extinction of specific habitats, and I think biggest of all, the diminishing of natural resources that are used in addition to fossil fuels and natural gas. In general, we need to fix and work on the ways that we treat and create energy, and throwing a solar panel on every person's roof in California while China and India continue to spew out tons and tons and tons of carbon into the air isn't going to fix anything. I mean, not nearly enough for it to be worthwhile for all the hassle that it will inevitably bring. So, this is a very nuanced topic, but I guess my point is, don't blame the gaming PCs. Why is it the gamers? Why is it always the gamers?
Gamers are being oppressed.
Bro,
why can't it be our presidents are bombing other countries? Doesn't that contribute to the global warming?
Instead of bombing us, like in their own country, Joe Biden. Oh, speaking of Joe Biden, I know we've clowned him on a lot, but need I remind you all that I believe we said this on a podcast earlier, that he wants to ban meat because of climate change. Remember when AOC was seriously considering the effect of cow farts on climate change in 2020 and 2019, when this was actually considered relevant discourse on the subject matter? The problem is, we're spewing out carbon, other countries are spewing out more carbon, and ultimately, nobody has a unified goal or solution. We're all just coming up with our own solutions, and no one's actually getting to agree on anything. This is the one issue that I feel like Democrats and Republicans, for as much as they disagree, and as much as Democrats really need to seriously get a grip on reality, could actually work together to get some effective praxis down and stop us from all dying. But instead of actually looking at real solutions, like, again, thorium reactors, for example, they keep looking to solar and wind to save them from the evil Republicans and their evil oil and their evil coal and their evil natural gas. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
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 But again, don't blame the gaming PCs, and don't blame bacon either. I get that the bacon thing was about, the conditions of the pigs, which, fair enough, but I don't think that should be a cause for completely wrecking the bacon market in California and in other states that, export bacon to California. I don't know why that has to all be hit so quickly. If it was treated as more of a gradual change, and systems were put in place to reward good behavior instead of outright banning bad behavior, at least in the very beginning, maybe we would actually see some voluntary movements from other independent companies in other states, imported to California, making the move first, becoming a better competitor, and then winning the other manufacturers out of the market naturally, instead of using state force to bludgeon their way into the problem.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay.
Long topic.
Yeah, so
that was a long talk.
Yeah,
more like long episode, yeah.
I'm sorry that I ranted so long on this one, but I had a lot of things to say, and I hope you all were at least somewhat interested in what I had to say. And, you two were cool, I guess, also. And today, I think that is it for the Sons of Liberty episode, what? Yeah. 15, 16?
No, I think 15. It's 15.
Okay, 1-5. Thank you all for tuning in, and remember,
follow our Twitter.
Fuck the state. See,
you worry about leaving a better planet for our kids. How about leaving better kids for our planet? Entire generation offended at everything, getting mad that a human thinks all lives matter. We don't need black or white or left or right. What we need is common sense. We need balance. We're all in the same boat. Why you trying to make holes? If they sink, we sink. This is madness.